Folks, well, happy Sunday. This is Meteorologist Ansley Parker, and we are going to dive into an extended look at the forecast. It's been a while since we actually had to dive into the extended forecast on the weekend because we've had such quiet weather. But today you're probably noticing some changes outside in terms of temperatures, in terms of cloud cover, maybe even in terms of a light sprinkle. And overall, it's just something we can talk about. And then we have also, for the first time in a long time, a potential rain chance on the 7-day forecast. Now I say potential, I'm going to kind of walk you through the reasons that I'm saying that, but overall it's kind of the most promising rain chance that we've had in quite some time. So lots of reasons to unpack the forecast, which is what we are going to do. And I'm going to take the graphics full screen so that you can see everything, and we will go ahead and get right into it. So right off the bat, today is definitely not quite as good looking of a day as the last couple of days. You can see that we have cloud cover across all 4 sky camps, and some of this cloud cover even, in fact, I just stepped outside for a second ago to grab a coffee, and when I was in my car, it was actually drizzling just a teeny bit. I had to hit the windshield wipers one time. So either way, whether you have that or whether you just have this cloud cover, it's definitely a dreary sight and kind of a different looking start to the day. And it also probably feels a little bit different. Now, these temperatures are now starting to fall a lot more, but earlier this morning, the entire board looked a lot more like what McRae, Swainsboro, and Vidalia are dealing with. A really warm start to the day, but it quickly fell because this cold front is actually on top of us right now. So that's the reason for the cloud cover, and that's the reason for the cooler temperatures. Again, when I stepped outside, this 58 here in Macon actually has a little bit of a chill to it because it's just so much cooler, and the temperatures are actively cooling down. So it just feels cool outside. The breeze is also really strong, which I'll show you in a moment, which kind of adds to the effect. But you can see where the front hasn't reached just yet. I mean, we are on the dividing line here between 50s and 60s, and then there's 70s over in our southeastern counties. So this front is working its way over our area right now, and it is definitely not fully through just yet. You can especially tell that when we look at the temperatures from kind of a statewide perspective. There's obviously much warmer temperatures down on the coast, and then behind this, even up there in northwestern Georgia where it's low 50s, you can tell, okay, so that's where some of the cooler air has filtered in. So big story is just this cold front moving across, and it definitely has our temperatures, even in the warmer spots, down a good number of degrees from this time yesterday. Now this will be the trend for the entire day. Even as we head into the afternoon and the heat of the day, we are still going to be close to, if not over, 15 to 20 degrees cooler than we were yesterday afternoon. So a big change, and not only in terms of the temperatures, but we also have a strong breeze out there today as well. Wind gusts this afternoon are going to be up around 25 miles an hour, and you can see across all of the wind gauges here, we have a pretty steady breeze, 10 to 15 miles an hour, and then pretty much everybody has at least gotten a wind gust up to around 20 miles an hour. So breezy, cool, and drier. So we're filtering in some drier air as well. Not that our air was super muggy, but we were starting to creep into the not bad category. So we did have a little bit of moisture in our air. Now this dry air mass is going to plummet us into the dry category. We are going to have an extremely dry air mass over us for the next couple of days. So those are all the changes that this front is bringing, and then of course most naturally it's bringing the change in temperatures. So to give you some perspective as to where we stand right now, yesterday's high temperature was 88 degrees, so luckily it wasn't 90. We did 90 on Friday. In fact, we did 91 degrees, and that was the first 90-degree day of the year. Yesterday we stayed in the upper 80s, though it still felt like 90. I will say it was really warm yesterday. And that is not where we're supposed to be sitting for this time of year. In fact, that's much closer to the record high that was set back in 1955. So yesterday was abnormal. The average high is 79 degrees for this time of year. As we head into this afternoon, we're going to make our way into the low 70s. So we're actually going to swing completely in the opposite direction, and the high temperature today is going to be below average as opposed to above average. So even as you head into this afternoon, this is still cooler than we're supposed to be for this time of year. It's just because it's this first day of the front as it comes through. Temperatures just really won't have the chance to get very high. Also because of the breeze and because the cloud cover will be with us at least kind of into the early afternoon before it clears into the evening. So the temperatures are just overall not really going to have the chance to get too warm today. So if you've been a fan of the cooler weather, not the warmer weather, definitely take advantage of what we have today, because trust me, a warm-up will be back in store, and I'll tell you more about that in just a minute. But this is what the satellite and radar looks like right now. Obviously, we have a lot of cloud cover, but I want to draw your attention to the fact that there actually was some rainfall along the leading edge of this front earlier today, and there still is in portions of other states. But as the line got closer and closer to our area, it just completely fell apart. So rainfall with this just didn't end up being super promising, and it really won't be as we go throughout the rest of the day. Like I said, you may catch a sprinkle, kind of like I did just a moment ago. That's what these probably are over here in Macon and over in Houston counties, but any of this is going to be extremely light. Like I said, you may hit the windshield wipers once or twice, but overall this is really not going to be much. So, you know, a sprinkle here or there for today, and this is not really going to do a ton for our drought conditions. But like I said, there actually for the first time in a while is some hope on the 7-day. So let's walk through the Futureview together. And for the rest of today, this front is just going to be the big story. So it's going to be working on getting out of here. By the time we get into the evening, the majority of the front, kind of the initial round, should be past us, but we're kind of waiting on this cloud cover to get out of here. So in theory, if the cloud cover can get out of here quick enough, you should still have a clear end to the evening. Nice little sunset tonight that you will be able to see, and then we will kind of just settle back into our dry pattern as we kick off the upcoming work week. So that means we're dry to start Monday, and then we're dry all the way through Monday, and all the way through Tuesday as well. Just to kind of give you the gist of the forecast for now, we've got no rain chances for next work week. So that means Monday all the way through Friday of next week, there will not be a single rain chance on the 7-day forecast. Now, we need the rainfall. We obviously know this. So we're still looking for that next big rainmaker. And right now, for the first time in a while, there are some hints, and I will kind of just slide it out there, hints of there potentially being a pattern in our atmosphere that could support some rainfall. So what's basically going to be happening, there's an upper level low and a surface cold front. They're going to be kind of aligning as we go into the end of next work week, and that potentially could result in some more widespread rain chances during the weekend. Now, the thing about the long range models is for the weekend here, obviously it still doesn't look like it covers our area. These long range models have been fluctuating a lot, and you'll notice there's not really a ton of pattern or rhyme or reason to the organization of any of these rain chances. So when we get this far out and it's not really an organized system, the coverage on these will look a little crazy, but I do think the overall trend here, which is the state of the atmosphere, means that we could end up seeing something, if not Saturday, potentially Sunday. Now, I want to manage expectations. I don't want to going all crazy saying, oh, finally we've got a downpour on the way. There's no certainty in that, at least at the moment, but there is at least the most decent chance that we've had in quite some time for us to get at least 1 or 2 more meaningful showers here in our area. So this is something to look forward to for the weekend. Obviously, I just give a lot of very vague details, but when we're at the very end of the 7-day forecast, you know the drill. As we go through the next few days, we get a little bit closer to this, we'll start to get a lot more information. So when you're this far out, when you're 7 days out, the thing that we're supposed to be doing is looking for patterns in the atmosphere, and so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm saying, okay, there is a pattern that could support some rainfall for next weekend. So that's where I'm going to leave it. I threw a 20% on the 7-day forecast, which is the highest rain chance that we've had in a really long time. So we'll go with that, and then we'll kind of see how things unfold as we go into the work week. But of course, it is no secret that we really need rainfall here in our area. You've probably seen this a lot lately. This is starting to become the worst drought that we've had in the state of Georgia in almost 20 years. So it's definitely getting to the point where we really, really need something. Now, unfortunately, I think it was just kind of one of those situations where things were going to get a little bit worse before they truly got better. But hopefully as we head into the long term, so kind of the end of April, early May, we'll start to have some more hints of rainfall in the picture. But this is what it looks like across the state, and then across the southeast. Portions of Florida are also in a really bad spot. What the National Weather Service tells us is that farmers have now delayed planting because the soil is just so hard and difficult to manage that it's actually damaging equipment. There's a bunch of other strong agricultural impacts to the drought. And we just really could use some rainfall. I believe it's going to take us now it's probably a bit more. Originally, back at the beginning of April, they had said we need at least an inch to an inch and a half of rainfall every single week for 3 months straight in order for us to correct our drought conditions. I wouldn't be surprised if we're on the higher end of that. We would need an inch and a half now that some time has passed since the beginning of the month. Either way, you get the drill. We really need some rainfall. We're in some pretty strong drought conditions, and that especially includes central Georgia because only portions of the state are in exceptional drought, but that does include, for us here, Telfair, Telfair, Wheeler, and Montgomery counties. So we're definitely looking for the next rainfall situation here. And like I said, this is another graphic kind of reiterating the same thing that I just said, but we have had, this is on record the most significant drought since 2011, but we actually are starting to trend towards the most significant drought since the 2000s. So really, 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 really bad drought. And I feel like we've got the gist on that. So let's focus in on what could potentially be some hope for the future rather than focusing in on the status of where we're at right now. And this is the Climate Prediction Center's 8 to 14 day outlook, talking about if we're in a trend to see some more rainfall. And that's kind of what I was just talking about. These different products from the Climate Prediction Center, they actually outline trends like what I was just mentioning about next weekend. So this goes in line with what I was kind of saying. They do think that we'll be at least near or above normal in the amount of rainfall that we'll see in the next couple of weeks. So that's really good news for us. That means that there's a couple of systems, or there's at least an atmospheric pattern setting up where we could get a few chances to see some rounds of rain over the next couple of days, over the next couple of weeks. Obviously not through the work week, but beyond that is kind of what this is forecasting for and kind of what I was talking about with the long range models. So there's hints of hope. And I will say, I'm not one to tend to over exaggerate things, but this is the most promising that these models have looked in a really long time. So that's why I feel pretty confident saying there's at least some good news on the horizon. Now the details of that still obviously a bit fuzzy this far out, but all of the trends and all of the way that the atmosphere is setting up right now definitely looks to put us in a better spot through the next few weeks. So good news on that front, and that kind of covers rainfall. Obviously with not a ton going on, we're kind of just playing the waiting game until we can get a little bit further out. But something that we do have right now is a bit of a temperature roller coaster. So that's what I'm going to focus in on for the remainder of the stream. So for the rest, this is the also the 8 to 14 day outlook for temperatures as opposed to rainfall, and you can see that we're in the above normal category, but we're close to the near normal category. So this is important because it basically means over the next couple of days and into the next week, we're going to be at least close to where we should be for this time of year, meaning cooler than last week where we were getting close to records and we were already in the 90s. We're not going to be that warm, but we're still going to be a little bit warmer than we should be. Now, obviously, that does not apply today. Today is a totally different story. Today we're going to stay in the low 70s. The front is going to really disrupt temperatures for this afternoon, and it's just going to make this kind of the standout day that you'll see on the 7-day forecast. But after this day, we're going to be on a warming trend heading into the week, and it's almost a perfect little stair step through the work week until we're back in the 80s. So they will be back, but at least for kicking off your work week, you should definitely be aware this cooler air will make for a much, 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 much cooler Monday morning. We haven't had a Monday morning this cool since kind of early last week, so it's definitely going to come as a little bit of a shock to the system. Monday morning, I would recommend grabbing at least a jacket or maybe a light sweater or something before you're out the door, because it's definitely going to feel different. I already felt a little chilly stepping outside right now, and we're only in the mid 50s, so low 40s is going to feel a little bit shocking, but by the time we get to Monday afternoon, we're going to be back in the 70s. So one of those huge temperature spread days, that's what Monday is going to be like for us. Then we're going to do another cool morning for Tuesday morning, but like I said, what you'll notice is that these temperatures are going to be gradually getting warmer each day. So the trend here is that every day we move forward, the temperatures will keep climbing, and I'll show you the 7-day here in a moment. It's going to put us back in the 80s by the end of the week. So that will be kind of the temperature situation here, and again, I'll touch more on that on the 7-day forecast. But something also important to note for this afternoon, I showed you the winds just a moment ago. We have wind gusts right now that are up to around 25 miles an hour, and the winds will be with us through the rest of the day. Now, they will eventually die down late tonight and kind of through the day on Monday, but certainly for today, they're going to be up as they always are when a front rolls through. But the reason I emphasize that at all, we have been under some pretty consistent fire danger statements. So basically the National Weather Service highlighting that the air was dry enough for there to be some fire danger concerns across our region. Today we have been bumped up to a red flag warning due to the strength of the winds. So normally when you have low humidity and some slight winds, we're kind of in the lower end of fire danger, but today with the really strong winds, any fires that get started, they can just get out of hand super quickly because the wind can just pick it up and carry it as far as it wants to go. So red flag warning is in place for majority of the area. You'll notice a couple of counties not quite outlined in the red flag warning. This is probably right now is at least just due to a difference in moisture in the air, but I wouldn't be surprised if this potentially was extended to the rest of the area for the day. Either way, if you're not in a red flag warning, you're in a fire danger statement. So the whole point of showing this is just to say it's another day where we really discourage outdoor burning. It can just get out of hand super easily and very quickly. So today is a day to not do any sort of outdoor burning, as have so many days been, but hopefully once we can get some rainfall, we can kind of find ourselves out of these fire danger conditions in the area. So with that being said, obviously some new details here, a few things to talk about in the forecast, but overall, once you look at the 7-day, it still looks pretty plain. Now, of course, today and next Saturday are kind of the standout days, the bookends here, but the upcoming work week, Monday all the way through Friday, there is still no rain chance in the picture, and we're basically going to have sunny skies for the entire work week. So it's going to be a good work week, nice and clear. Kind of the most interesting thing about the work week will probably be the temperatures. We'll go from starting in the 70s on Monday to quickly working our way to the 80s by the middle of the week. And then by the time we're at the end of the week, we just keep stair-stepping up to the mid to upper 80s. Like I said, it's kind of a perfect stair step, but it does get cut short by the weekend. And I think that is going to be due to some sort of a rain chance in our area. Now, I've told you before, I only went with the 20% right now just because there's not a lot of clarity about what this could actually mean for our area when we're at the very end of the 7-day forecast. There's just not a ton of details at this point in time. So I've gone with 20 for now just to say, hey, there's something out there, you know, maybe pay attention to the weekend, and we'll hopefully think that we can bump that up as we go into the next couple of days. As we get closer and closer, we tend to be more confident about bumping rain chances up, so you will likely see that one change through the next few days. But other than that rain chance, today is kind of the most interesting day because the temperatures are going to be so low. We'll stay in the low 70s today, and in terms of the 10% that you see on there, that's just to cover the bases for a brief sprinkle or two that might try to pop up later this afternoon. So with that, it's fairly quiet as we head into the next few days, and then all eyes will be on the weekend to kind of see what we can come up with as we get a little bit closer. But that is at least all that I have for this Sunday morning kind of weather chat. Of course, if you've got interest in the weekend, keep your eyes out. There could potentially be a more substantial rain chance in the picture, and that is probably going to be our focus all week long. We'll be paying very close attention to that and giving you all the details every single day leading up to the weekend. So thank you so much for joining me. If you're looking for more information, you can join meteorologist Alex Pry tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. and every day after that. He'll be doing a very similar style extended forecast every day right here on 13 WMAZ+. I'm going to leave you with the sky cams here, and I hope you have a great Sunday.